In the grand tapestry of Scripture, there's a particular thread that catches our attention, one that speaks to our hearts and minds. The phrase, slow to anger, echoes throughout sacred texts, reminding us of God's patient nature. As we delve into the slow to anger verse, let's explore what it means for our faith journey. It's an intriguing concept when we consider human nature. We're often quick to react, to lash out, and to be driven by emotions. Yet, in a world where patience is a virtue, God shows us a different path, one of restraint, compassion, and understanding. This exploration will examine how the slow to anger verse speaks to our daily lives. What does it mean to walk alongside someone who's struggling? How do we balance empathy with setting boundaries? As we navigate these questions, may our hearts be shaped by God's gentle yet firm guidance. Scriptures are replete with examples of characters who embody this trait, individuals who stood firm in the face of adversity while remaining soft in their approach. We'll examine some of these stories and uncover the wisdom they hold for us today. Ultimately, our goal is not to simply understand the slow to anger verse intellectually, but to allow its truths to transform us from the inside out. May this journey be a rich one, filled with insight, compassion, and a deeper connection to God's loving heart. Biblical context and key passages. The concept of being slow to anger is deeply rooted in Scripture. In Psalm 103:8, we read, "The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love." This passage paints a vivid picture of God's character, highlighting his patient nature. In Isaiah 30:18, the prophet writes, "Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you. Therefore he will rise up to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him." Here, we see God's desire to offer mercy and kindness, even in the midst of our mistakes. A key passage that illustrates this trait is Proverbs 15:1, which states, "A gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words stir up wrath." This verse offers practical wisdom on how we can respond to difficult situations with empathy and understanding. Another significant example of someone who embodied the slow to anger verse is Joseph in Genesis. Despite being betrayed by his brothers and later imprisoned, Joseph chose not to harbor resentment. Instead, he remained patient and kind, even when faced with adversity. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph says to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." This statement showcases his remarkable ability to forgive and move forward. These examples demonstrate how the slow to anger verse is not just a moral ideal, but a living, breathing aspect of God's character. As we navigate life's challenges, may we seek to embody this trait, just as Joseph and others have done before us. Meaning in key themes, the slow to anger verse speaks directly to our understanding of God's nature. It reminds us that he is not quick to react or lash out, but rather takes a step back to consider the situation before responding. This trait is not only admirable, but also instructive for our own lives. As we explore this concept further, it becomes clear that being slow to anger is closely tied to patience and compassion. When we choose to respond slowly and thoughtfully, we open ourselves up to empathy and understanding. Conversely, when we react impulsively or harshly, we often escalate the situation and create more problems. The slow to anger verse also highlights the importance of self-control in our relationships with others. It encourages us to take a step back, breathe deeply, and consider how our words and actions might impact those around us. By doing so, we can build stronger, more resilient connections with others. One key theme that emerges from this concept is the idea of delayed justice. When God chooses to respond slowly or not at all, it's often because he wants to give us time to reflect and change our ways. Delayed response can be a blessing in disguise, allowing us to learn valuable lessons and grow as individuals. In many cultures, patience is seen as a sign of weakness, but the slow-to-anger verse flips this narrative on its head. It reveals that true strength lies not in being quick-tempered or reactive, but in being able to pause, reflect, and respond with kindness and compassion. By embracing the slow-to-anger verse, we can develop a more nuanced understanding of God's character and our own place within His plan. Begin to see that patience is not just a virtue but an essential aspect of living a life of love and service to others. Practical application today. So, how do we apply the slow-to-anger verse in our daily lives? The first step is simply being aware of our own triggers and reactions. When we feel ourselves getting angry or frustrated, take a deep breath and pause before responding. Ask yourself, is this reaction necessary, or can I respond with kindness instead? Another practical application is to practice active listening in our relationships. By truly hearing what others are saying and seeking to understand their perspectives, we can diffuse tense situations and build bridges of understanding. We also need to recognize that setting boundaries is not the same as being slow to anger. In fact, healthy boundaries can be an act of love and compassion towards ourselves and others. It's okay to say no or set limits without becoming defensive or aggressive. Finally, embracing the slow-to-anger verse means we need to redefine what it means to be strong in our relationships. Instead of trying to control every situation or always having the right answer, we can choose to be present, empathetic, and understanding. In a world that values speed and efficiency, the slow-to-anger verse is a radical call to rethink our priorities. By embracing this trait, we can create space for deeper connections with others and a more profound relationship with God. Conclusion. As we conclude our exploration of the slow-to-anger verse, let's reflect on its transformative power in our lives. By embracing this trait, we can develop a deeper understanding of God's character and cultivate patience, compassion, and empathy in our relationships. The slow-to-anger verse reminds us that true strength lies not in being quick-tempered or reactive, but in being able to pause, reflect, and respond with kindness and compassion. It encourages us to prioritize love, service, and understanding over speed and efficiency. As we move forward on our faith journey, may the slow-to-anger verse guide us in our interactions with others. May we strive to be present, empathetic, and understanding, just as God is patient and gracious towards us. By doing so, we can build stronger connections with others and deepen our relationship with God.